Good afternoon, everyone. This is Harita. This is Dr. Harita from the Department of Public Administration. Today, we'll be talking about the HRM, the semester 5 HRM topic. And today, we'll be continuing our syllabus with the block 3 and block 4. And in block 3, we will be talking about rewards and compensation management. Rewards and compensation management. Then we will be talking about performance appraisal and competency mapping system, that is Unit 7. And Unit 8 is capacity building strategies, that is training. So first, we will start with our semester topic HRM, Human Resource Management, with the Unit 6, that is Rewards and Compensation Management. Now, when we talk about compensation, what is compensation? In the last class, we discussed about pay components, and pay commissions. So, in that class, we discussed about what is pay. The pay or remuneration, salary, all this we have termed out, concentrated on. So, what is pay or what is remuneration? That is, when an employee gives his man hours to the organization in the benefit of the organization, in turn to compensate his work hours, the organization will pay him. The organization will compensate him with a monetary basis, that is, on monetary grounds, through salary or wage or remuneration. That is termed as pay. Now, we will throw more light on this compensation management and the rewards. That is, how this rewards, or now what is a reward? What can we say is a reward? Reward is appreciation. Appreciation by the organization towards the employee. So when the employee does anything good for the benefit of the organization, in helping the organization to achieve the organizational goals, then it will automatically, or we can say the organization will it will compensate it, or it will reward the employee to make the employee more motivated towards the working of the organization. So rewards and compensation management. Today we'll be talking about the first topic in our class. Today is rewards and compensation management, Unit 6 from Block 3. Now, first, what is compensation? Compensation refers to all forms of financial rewards received by employee of an organization. As I told you before, that compensation is all forms of financial reward which is being given to the employees by the organization. So it will help. It will help the organization. Now, this when we can rewarding an employee is an vice versa process, we can say. Why we are saying that it is a vice versa process? Because the organization will get benefited by this, and as well as the employee. Now, how the employee gets benefited? He will be getting motivated, first point. Then he will be having loyalty. He will start showing more loyalty towards the organization. He will be there for the organization in hard times as well, because the organization has considered him. So this might be the employee's perspective. Now, when we talk about the organizational perspective, the organization has to attain or retain the employees of the organization who are, we can say, who are having more expertise in particular areas, and who are more loyal to the organization, who are giving their 100% to the organization. So compensation management, in that we have the most important one is rewarding the employee. Rewarding the employee to make the employee motivated, and to make the employee, or to retain the employee for the organization. Now, when we talk about these aspects, what might be the most important objectives of this compensation management when we talk about these rewards in the organization. As I told you now, that it helps in retaining and attracting the high quality people. High quality people means who have more better knowledge and who have more experience. Because now when we take the example of an hospital, now, in that hospital, if a new doctor who has completed his education, who comes and joins the hospital, and the doctor who is there in the hospital and in that area of work in that for more than 10 years or 15 years, then automatically the person, by seeing the patient only, the experienced person will come to know what alignment he is having, what are the most, what he is undergoing, what is his problems. All this he will try to come out know by seeing that person or the patient. Whereas the person who has completed his education and who has become a new doctor, who has joined the hospital, will be through after thorough investigations, after thorough tests only, he will come to know how he has to diagnose that patient. So this we can say that it is a sorted one where high quality employees or more experienced employees will help the organization to achieve the organizational goals in a very shorter period of time or in the stipulated time. And I'm not telling that the persons who are new, or they might not be they might not work for properly for the organization. Because there are disadvantages as well as advantages in both the aspects. So if you take the advantageous part of the new people getting new blood into the organization, is they have more energy, more enthusiasm to find, to go on more research to find out the core of the problem, and they will be they'll have more of interest in analyzing the things. All this will be considered as an advantageous part. So the objectives of this compensation management is, the first one is it helps in attaining and attracting the high quality people in the organization. And the second important one is it is a motivating factor for the people or the employees. We can say it is an we can say that it is a motivating factor for the employees as well. Now, what are the components? What are the components of this rewards compensation management? There are two components, direct components and indirect components, or we can say direct compensation and indirect compensation. To make it more precise, we will talk about two types of compensation. That is, first one is direct compensation, second one is indirect compensation. Now, what is direct compensation? Direct compensation is which can be paid to the employee directly by the organization. That is, for example, we can take basic salary, medical reimbursement, house rent, leave travels, all these which are being paid to the employee by the organization but directly. So that can be considered as a direct compensation. Now, what is indirect compensation? Indirect compensation is overtime payment, which the employee has to work for. Then only he might be getting that pay. So, overtime, getting more, when he works more for the organization, he will be paid more. Then we'll have flexible timings. This flexible timings, this is also an indirect method, indirect compensation. What flexible methods? With that, what happens? The employee will be satisfied the employee will feel that the organization is taking care of him, and it is giving them that employee permission to come early or move early or go away early to do his personal things. Why? Because if the a person, if that employee is working in a very better manner, and if he is giving his 100% work to the organization, then automatically then automatically the organization will give that reward to the employee too. Then now we can say flexible timings is the one type of reward, because the with that the organization will have the will we can retain the loyal employee, and the employee also will feel free that yes, the organization has considered me, so I have to be in the system, I have to be with this organization. He will not have afterthoughts that the organization is not cooperating with me in my hard times, so I have to move from this organization to another organization. Then we have paid leaves. That is, paid leave means if the employee is on leave, and but also he will be paid for that leave. They won't cut the pay from for the leave period. That is, he will be paid for that leave period as well. Now, this is a very good motivating factor on the perspective of the employee, because he will feel that yes, if I am taking leave from my job also, the organization is recognizing my efforts and is compensating me towards the leave period. So this can be another important motivating factor. And above all these, the other more important motivating factors which will benefit the employee in the long run is whatever I told you now: overtime method, flexible timings, paid leaves. All these are the short term methods where at that movement of time only you will be addressed. So the employee will feel that it is only a short period of time that if the organization is addressing him. But actually, the organization considers the employees, and also thinks about the employees in the long run. To explain this, retirement benefits is a very important indirect compensation which is being given, which is being rewarded to the employees. Now, what is this retirement benefit? Retirement benefits, as was talking about, gratuity, pension, all this provident fund, which are being given to the employee after retirement. That is acknowledging the work of the employee, acknowledging the work of the employee after his retirement as well. That is, in turn, we can say that the organization is addressing the problems of the employee after his retirement from work. So, this can be a very good motivating factor for the employee to stick to the organization. Then we have insurance, ensuring security. It is a social security for the employee to be retained in the organization. So we can say that this will help the organization to retain the employees, to make the employees work for the organization, and moreover, if at times if the organization is not able to work in an better manner, or if the organization is not able to produce or come up with the expected results, then these all factors will help the employees not to quit the organization in the hard times of the organization. So this can be help this can we can say that this can be a very good motivating factor. Now, this is rewards and compensation management. So, in this, we have discussed about what is compensation, what is reward, and what are the components. Components in this are to direct compensation and indirect compensation. Now we will move on to the next topic, that is performance appraisal and competency mapping system. Now what is performance appraisal? Now, performance appraisal and competency mapping system. These are two different aspects of, we can say that, analyzing, evaluating the skill and ability of the employee. These are the two different types of modes, or we can say methods, to analyze the capabilities of the employees and make them, or having an evaluation of their ability, capability, and as well as their skill, evaluating their skill, which will help the organization to give more and more better results. Now, first question appears here is, what why does the organization go for this performance appraisal? Before going answering this question, first we will first we will understand what is performance appraisal. Performance appraisal, in simple terms, to understand, it is performance evaluation of the employees, or if we want to make it more simpler, we can say it is the feedback of the employees. It is the feedback of the employees after every financial year, because they will go for increments, they will be expecting promotions, increments, rewards, compensations, all these. So every employee will be working towards aiming, or we can say aiming to that goal only. So in that perspective, the employees will have to, or we can say that they have to understand this performance appraisal as an important, as an very important thing to may, or we can say in their career, because in their career, this performance appraisal only makes them understand their flaws, and also makes them understand how to develop their, or where they are lagging behind with this capabilities. So when we talk about this performance appraisal, so when we this performance appraisal is performance evaluation, or in simple terms, it's a feedback of the employee. So now, what is this? How does this performance appraisal work? Or what is the importance of this performance appraisal? As I told you, it will be helpful in the organizational perspective. It will be helpful for the organization to know who the capabilities of the employees, and it can also, in the perspective of the organization can also get to know that who is actually working for the organization, and who is just coming and going with, and having getting the salary being paid, and who is being here, or, and with this what happens is, at times they will get to know actually the hidden talents of the employees, also the hidden talents or hidden capabilities of the employees as well. Now, through the this performance appraisal, we are talking about the importance. So, yeah, I have explained you about the perspective of the organization. Now, we will take up the perspective of the employee. Through this performance appraisal, the employee also will know where he stands in the hierarchy, or where he stands in the ladder of these, or we can say in the roles of these employees. Because we can say, now for example, if 10 people in the same wing are working, and every all the 10 have been awarded this, been assigned the same work. Now, after after the work is done, they will be given the feedback. They will be, the organization will go for the feedback. With that, what will be what will the organization will come to know? The organization, through this feedback, the organization will come to know that who has completed the work in lesser time, or who has come out with more knowledgeable things or more new methods to attain the targets in very shorter period of time, or more, who was more loyal towards his work, or who has taken advantage of the time given to them. So with all these, the organization will get to know who has really worked. And in the employee's perspective, the employee also will get to know in how much time he completed the task, and where he is lagging behind, and where he has to work more on himself to reach that target, or to reach that targets of achievement. So this can we can say that this will help through this performance appraisal, the organization and the employee will get to know about the prospects, or the about the employees. That is, performance appraisal is a continuous evaluation of the work done by the employee. Through this, what happens? This continuous evaluation will give the organization as well as the employees a better person, a better employee to work for the organization. So we can say that this continuous evaluation will give the organization as well as the employee a very very positive perspective. That is, the he will understand that where he is lagging behind, and where his colleagues have moved forward, and where he has to improve himself. So this can be a very very important, as I can say that performance appraisal plays a very very important role in the performance of the organization, because ultimately the organization has to compete in the market, and if it does not show better results, then it has to move away from the market. It will disintegrate, because it cannot compensate with the market trends. He cannot be in the competition. Then it has to move forward, and it cannot move forward, and it will be lagging behind. So this is the importance of performance appraisal. Then we will move on to the objectives. What are the important objectives for this performance appraisal? What might be the objectives? That is, the first and foremost is it will improve efficiency through continuous evaluation. What I have done, what I can do, what can from the past experiences, every person gets to know how he is lacking behind, where he is lagging behind, all these things. So through this performance appraisal, it will help the employees to improve their efficiency. Then the second one is future work assignments. As I told you, future work assignments means, in the initial explanation, I told you promotions. Now, future work assignments to is exam of promotion. That is, moving from one grade to another grade, higher grade, from one level to the higher levels. Now, through the employee's efficiency, through his evaluation only, the organization will get to know that that employee is working more for the organization, and in compensating that, through this evaluation, through his continuous work evaluation, the organization will get to know that this employee is more working towards the organization, so he should be rewarded. And through this reward, how they can be rewarded, the employees, through assigning them a bigger projects, future projects, and or giving them more responsibilities, and giving them more and more, we can say, duties, etc. Now, the third important one is strong and weak points of the employees. So, with this evaluation, they will get to know strong and weak points of the employees, where each individual, when each employee, when he undergoes this this evaluation, this performance evaluation, then that employee will get to know the strong things, things what he has, strong abilities, where he can perform more, where he can work more, and which have given him the more strength. Then he will, through this evaluation, he will also find out that where he is lacking behind, what are his weaknesses, where he has to work more on. All this can be explained. So this performance evaluation will help the employees as well as the organization to get better employees for the organization. Then we have the next one, steps in the process of performance appraisal. Now, what are the important steps which have to be taken in the case of this performance appraisal? That is, the first and foremost step is setting performance goals and objectives. Now, what do we understand by the terms setting performance goals and objectives? That is, the organization has to set up a goal that is the target, I can say, in simple terms, a target. The organization has to set a target to analyze or evaluate the work of these employees, the work of these employees. So the with this, what happens, setting up of the target will, the organization and as well as the employees will get to know in how much time, in how much time they are completing the task, and who is performing in a better manner, who is working more. So the first and foremost step in evaluation of their performance is the setting up of the goals or the targets. Second one is data collection. When the organization sets up the target, or when the organization decides to come out with a target, and then every employee is being assigned the target, then automatically what will happen, the everybody will work to achieve that target. Now, the organization has to collect the data, data collection. That is, bringing all the work of the employees onto one platform and scrutinizing it. And bringing everything onto one thing, and making sure of everything has to be scrutinized, collecting the data and putting the data at one point and start analyzing the data. Data collection means bringing all the necessary information at one point of time, or at one platform, to analyze the things, or the analyze the work of the employees. Then this can be the two important steps to in the performance appraisal. Then we have methods of this performance appraisal. Now, what are the important methods. The two oh, that the methods have been divided into two, that is traditional methods and modern methods. Traditional methods, what are the methods which are used in this traditional way to analyze the performance of the employees? The first one is for paid comparison method. Paid comparison method means we come across in some organizations. The organization will the supervisor, the manager, or the higher authorities will compare the employees, and they just say that A person has worked very well, but B person couldn't do well, and the A person, please, the B person should learn from A person. This can be a comparison method. With that, what happens? This is a very age-old traditional method, we can say. Traditional method. And they say that in the traditional method, they say that please go and learn from A, then you will get to know how to work in the organization, and how you can improve your capabilities. So this can be a different, this can be, I can say, in this traditional method, this can be a demotivating factor, because the employees, the A employee might feel, he might feel that, yes, I have done, and he might feel that I am the better one, and he might show that I am a better person, so you should come and learn from me. The hypocrite type of things might come up. And the person who did not work very well might feel as a demotivation, because he has to request the opposite person, he has to know what he has to do. Whenever the A person tries to explain him, then only he has to learn. So this cannot work, wonders, I can say. So this is a traditional method of performance evaluation. Then second one is straight ranking method. Straight ranking method is just giving them a number, that the for example, the students, they get grades or numbering, that is first rank, second rank. With that, what happens? The students, the first rank holder and the second rank holder might be having only one mark difference, but the first rank holder will feel he will feel overwhelmed, and he will say that I am the first rank holder, and the second rank holder will be feeling that with only one mark I lost, and I'm not a better person. It might lead to some fight in his mind also. So this is another traditional method, I can say, that is a straight ranking method. Then we have the next method, modern method. Modern method of performance appraisal. In this, the first one is 360 degrees appraisal. Now, what do we understand by 360 degrees? 360 degrees means, what do we understand by the term 360 degrees? 360 degrees means all round, overall. So the in the modern method, the overall development, overall capabilities, overall skills of the employees have to be understood by the organization. That is, for example, if the employee is working, and then he should, that employee's evaluation has to be done on his punctuality, on his ethics, values, his work nature, understanding the work, his way how he is addressing his employees, colleagues, his how he is planning his schedules, in how much time he is completing his task. Everything has to be addressed, that is called as an 360 degree 360-degree appraisal. Then we have the second one, assessment centers. Assessment centers means the this is a type of this work of evaluating these employees will be given to the work the other department who will be allotted for this purpose only, to check the performance. That is, they will thoroughly have an eye on the work of the employee, that is his schedules, his work. That is, we can say it is a third eye. It is a third eye which will have a constant vigilance on these employees and will prepare a report on these employees and will submit it to the organization. Through this assessment report, the organization will come to know who is working. We can say that the this can be a precise one as well, because there is no scope for partiality, there is no scope for favoritism, there is no scope for anything. So everybody will be given the work on their nature, or we can say that their how they are performing. Based on that only they will be evaluated. So we can say that the compared to the traditional methods, the modern methods have been given are more we can say that the modern methods are more good, or we can say more helpful for the evaluation of the employees, and in the perspective of the organization, and as well as in the perspective of the employees. So we can say that this performance appraisal will be a great motivating factor for the employees to work for the organization. Then we will move on to the next topic in this unit, that is the perform. We have discussed the first one, performance appraisal. Then next we will be discussing the second one, that is the competency mapping system. Now, what do we mean by competency mapping system? Competency mapping system is the ability, or we can say it is competency mapping is a process of identifying key competencies for a company. Competency mapping is a process of identifying key competencies for a company. Means, what is competency? The ability to do something successfully or efficiently. That in simple terms I will explain you. Now, what a competency is, now if a person, if an employee in an organization, if he is very good in working on computer, okay, working on computer, then everybody will be praising for his knowledge in computer, how he handles the computer, and how he completes the task given to him by the computer through that computer. Means the skill the employee has how to handle that computer is known as the competency of that employee. That is the ability of that employee to perform that given task in less shorter period of time. That is known as competency. Now, competency can be of different types: intellectual, motivational, or it can be of any type. Some people will be very good at in talking. That is they talk very nicely. That is, they influence people. They get attracted, the people get attracted to them. The people like to listen to them. That is a competency of that person. And some will be a very good leaders who are a good motivators. That is, they will make the people or they encourage the people. So this can be one of the competency. Or driving of vehicles. Some people will be very good drivers. That is, they are very skilled. That is a competency. So competency means the ability to perform successfully and efficiently. Now that is known as competency. Now we will take up one of the definition of competency mapping. Competency mapping identifies an individual's strengths and weaknesses. The aim is to enable the person to better understand himself or herself and to point out where career development efforts need to be directed. That is competency mapping. Now mapping is competency is the ability. Now what is mapping? Drawing, that is analyzing yourself, where you know what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths. So competency mapping is which is being done by the organizations, whereby getting to know which employee is capable in which sector, or in he individually we can say the understanding the abilities of the employees individually in there, or we can say that how they are efficiently and effectively working in their perspectives. That is competency mapping. So competency mapping can be defined as a process of identifying the key competencies which have the ability to do something efficiently and achieving the goals of the organization and make the organization successful. So we can say that the organization has to definitely go for this competency mapping and performance appraisal. With these two methods, the organization can filter the employees who are really working for the organization and who are better assets for the organization. So we can say that the competency mapping is a skill or the ability that helps the organization in job evaluations and training and recruitments. As I told you, in evaluating the jobs, that is who is needed, when he is needed, how he is needed. All these questions can be answered. Now, we will talk about the types of competency mapping. In that, we have intellectual, motivational, emotional, and social. These are the types of competency mappings: intellectual, motivational, emotional, and social. Now, we have the methods of competency mapping. What are the methods which are being used for this competency mapping? They are assessment centers, critical incidents, or we can say in a critical means assessment centers, as I told you before in performance appraisal. Critical, that is the assessment centers, that is the third eye, which will have a constant vigilance on the employees and will submit through continuous evaluation of the performance of the employees. This assessment centers will submit a report to the organization. Based on their assessment report, the organization will go for the rewarding of the employees, so through promotions or increments, all benefits, all these. Then critical incidents. Now, what do we understand by critical incidents? Means at the time, in the crisis time, of the organization, if in the crisis time, the employees who are there with the in the organization, and the employee who work with the organization in the crisis time, they will survive and they will help the organization also to survive. With this, what happens? The organization will get to know that they have the ability and skill to be with the organization in the crisis time as well. Then we have the questionnaires, interview techniques, all this, where question and answer, that is, face to face interactions can be, or a thorough questionnaire can be prepared and given to the employees. And through that questionnaire, the organization might come to know who are better performers, who have better knowledge, and who are really with the organization. All these questions can be answered, or we can say the organization will get the answers through this performance appraisal and competency mapping systems. So this is all about the competency mapping system. Then we will move on to the next topic, that is the capacity building strategies, or we can say the unit 8, employee capacity building strategies and training. Now, what do we understand by the term capacity building or capacity development? Capacity building or capacity development is a process by which individuals and organizations obtain, improve, and retain the skills, knowledge, tools needed for the organization. That is, through this capacity building. Capacity building is an whereby it is a process by which individuals as well as the organizations can they can improve their skills and abilities to get ready for the future, or we can say future prospects or future projects or future assignments with great competency, or we can say with great capacity. Now, the building capacity, that is motivating themselves and making them ready. Now, what is the importance of this capacity building? That is, the most important factor, or we can say the most important thing, why organizations have to go for this capacity building, is to optimum utilization of resources. Optimum utilization of resources means, that is, if the organization gets to know how to use the resources wisely, and if the employees who are working in the organization also will know how to use that resources in a very mindful manner, then each and every thing will be utilized in a proper manner. That is, there, there will be no scope for, or we can say that there will be no scope for the wastage, or there will be no scope for more and more usage of we can say that it will not give scope for the wastage things. So this can be an important thing for the capacity building. Then second one is facilitating long-term decisions in an organization. Facilitating long-term decisions in an organization. That is, now through this capacity building, the organization can plan for long-term projects or long-term goals. That is, through these targets, or through these employees who are very, very efficient in the organization, with them the organization can plan for bigger results, bigger goals, and greater objectives. So it will have a long perspective, long goal to move on. That is the importance of this capacity building. Now, we have now what are the types of this component, types of this capacity building? In this types, there are two types of capacity building. That is individual capacity building, and second one is community capacity building. By the name only, we can understand individual capacity building. Individual capacity building means each individual each individual trying to analyze themselves and enhancing their capabilities and skill. Now, for example, a person attending a class, is uh, making himself ready for the exam, individually building their capacity, individually building their capacity, or making themselves, in that individual is making himself ready for the future, that is making himself ready to write the exams. That is the individual capacity building. Now, community capacity building is creating awareness and making everybody coming onto one platform to achieve a common goal. That is, for organization, I can say. Organization is a community where everybody, right from the top management to the daily wage workers or the workers who are working in the organization, each one of them come together onto one platform for what? To get the result for the organization, to get better results for the organization, or to attain organizational objectives. That is the community capacity building. Then we have the components that are organizational and human. As I that when be human is individual and organizational is overall. Now, when we talk about this capacity building, we have we can take the best example of this capacity building is the strategy of capacity building is training. Training is a most important sorted out example or sorted out component of the, or we can say a strategy for the capacity building. Now, what do we understand by training? Training is, it is the act of increasing knowledge and skills of an employee for doing a particular job, for doing a particular job. Now, we see, I'll take a better example of introduction of computers in the offices, government offices. That is, now the government employees, they used to work manually in the offices. That is, they used to write on the papers, files, and they used to store them for future use. But after the reforms, economic reforms, that is a introduction of computers, then everybody started to use the computers. So now everybody did not know the knowledge of using the computers, how it has to be used, how it has to be maintained, everything. Then these government officials had to be trained, means they had to. Now, what the skill they had was the writing a file, preparing a file, to making them increase their knowledge of writing their file or writing their inputs without their hand, pen and using a paper. They have to do it with paperless. That is through feeding the data on the net, on the computer. That is increasing their knowledge and also their skill how to use that computer. With this, what happened? When they got trained, they started using the computer. They started storing the data in the pen drives, and they started to use emails, and they started to have virtual meetings. They have avoided traveling more. They have, because and they are doing much work in shorter period of time. That is more work in less time. Previously, they used to do less work in more time. That because they used to travel, they used to meet, and they used to spend days in traveling, all this. So this has given more time duration was taken, so this has given more and more scope for delay in things. But when the computers were introduced, when the employees were trained, they started to use the computers, and if the work was simplified, and they started to do more work. They started to show more efficiency, and they started to do, I can conclude in one word saying that smart work. They started to do smart work, and they started to do it in a more efficient and effective manner, and they could collaborate with more and more people in less shorter period of time. So this is, we can say, the meaning and importance of training. Now we will discuss the methods of training. The methods of training are two types. The first one is on the job training and off the job training. Now what do we understand by the term on the job training? On the job training is working with the machines. Means practically we see many people, that is we see the workers, the factory workers, in the industries. We see the workers working in the organization with machines, tools, equipments, all these. That is practically with the machines. Training is imparted to the new joinees, new people, to with the machines only they are trained. That is termed as on the job training. Now the second one is off the job training. Off the job training means through virtually lecture methods, coaching, job rotations. We all know what is lecture method. Now I am giving you a lecture. Through this, I am imparting knowledge to you and making you ready for your exams. So this is a lecture. This is an off the job training method. Now the virtual class, what we are having now, this is also a training method, whereby I'm trying to improve your skill, your ability to compete with the exams, or compete with or making you ready for writing your exams. So this is also an off the job training method. Then we have the another important one, that is job rotation. Job rotation means when a person is assigned one job after the other, making him ready for all the multitasking, I can say. If that person is absent, then he can be able to do that person's work also. So multitasking, multi abilities to perform that work, that is known as job rotation. So we can say that this job rotations, all these will help the organizations to make the employees work for the organization, and and also it will help the organization to retain the employees and as well as get new blood into the organization. What do we understand by the term new blood? New blood means new employees into the organization, new employees into the organization, whereby building the organization for future goals. This is the, we can say, the capacity building, employee capacity building strategies. In that, the most important one is training. So, in today's class, we have discussed you in block 3, from block 3, that is and compensation managed. Then we have moved on to block 4, that is, in that we discussed about unit 7, that is performance appraisal and competency mapping system. Then we also discussed about the unit 8, that is the capacity building strategies training. So this is all about the today's class. Thank you.